Thank you, Gihan. Gihan, I want to thank you very much for introducing me to this comet, or to mentioning it on one of our WhatsApp groups. And
Right.
when you mentioned it, I thought, well, let me look at this. And so I looked it up and I found it quite interesting and quite appropriate for my presentation tonight. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first talk about the comet, and then, because that's up now and also up until the middle of next month at least. So let's talk about that without further ado. And now it won't change. Oh, gosh. Okay, so this comet was discovered actually in around about April. Then it went behind the sun and it emerged again in early September. And it was added to the Minor Planet Center's possible comet confirmation page on September the 12th. It's currently reported, when this was printed, was reported at 8.3 magnitude, but it's now come down to about 7. So, and the calculations, it's still very new, so the calculations are still in progress. So it emerged again on September the 12th. Then the big mouthful here, the Solar Wind Anisotropies SWAN instrument on the SOHO spacecraft detected. I'll talk on the next slide about the SOHO spacecraft. And it's relatively bright, as comets go, shining at around magnitude 7. The comets are fuzzy, but it's bright enough to detect using binoculars or a camera with a 200mm lens. Then this image was captured by a chap in South Australia, Michael Matazio, and it's got quite a long tail. It's about 5 moons long. This is the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, SOHO, which first noticed this or photographed this comet, and it was sent up in 30 years ago, 1995, and it's discovered about 5,000 comets to date, which I found quite interesting. So this observatory was a European Space Agency spacecraft built by an industrial company in Europe, Matra Marconi Space. So next slide. That's just a picture of the comet taken by that SOHO. Now, where is this comet? How can you see it? Where to find it? It's in the west, just after sunset, not far from the planet Mars. I've looked the last 3 nights, tried to look, but every night that we've had cloud, so I couldn't see it. But if you look, its trajectory is currently under analysis, so it's too early to determine if the comet will get brighter or fade. I think it's getting brighter. The comet will have its closest approach to Earth around the 12th to the 19th of October. So there's still hope that we can see it and that we'll see it even brighter than it is now. So it might get as bright as magnitude 5.8, which is significantly brighter than it is now. So where do you look? You must look immediately after sunset. You'll see Speaker right at just above the horizon. Mars was near it, but I think Mars has moved a bit. We're now the 25th, so that's just before the 26th of September. So it's still moving up, and it's, as I said, it's going to get closer between the 12th and the 15th of October. So here's where we look. The 2 stars that the comet is going through, the 2 stars are in Libra, the major stars in Libra. So that's where you can aim at. Look at Libra and go down to Speaker, put an imaginary line, and that's where you should see the comet. You should definitely see it through reasonable binoculars, and or definitely with a scope. David Slater is going out looking for meteorites next week. He should definitely take a scope with him. And if the evening's clear, have a look out there because there'll be no light pollution. He should see it well. Good luck, David. There's another photograph of it taken by these two chaps, Riemann and Jaeger, on the 13th. And magnitudes come down now, +6. So you can see the fine Swan 25b in the constellation Virgo, not far from Mars and Spica. It's still close to the sun, so be prepared to catch it near the horizon at sunset. That's the trajectory of the comet against the solar system, and you can see we're going to be seeing it when it probably gets close to this yellow line. That's the Earth. Sorry, the blue line. That's the Earth's orbit. That's when we'll see it best, probably. That's an old. This was charting the progress of the comet in April, before it reached the sun. So looking at our monthly charts that I look at, this is the sky at about 6 o'clock at night. So it's very different from the charts I normally show you, which are taken, the charts are representative of the 11 o'clock at night in the early part of the month, 10 o'clock in the middle of the month, and 9 at the end of the month. So this is just at sunset. You can see Spica just above the horizon, and there you can see Libra. So the comet is going this way. Well, it's going from there to there, and then it'll carry on. So to orientate yourself, I've shown the ecliptic. I've shown Scorpio, which is still quite high above the horizon, but by 11 o'clock at night, that will be, most of it will be below the horizon. You can see Crux, Southern Cross, is also fairly low. Okay, so that's all I've got to talk about. I think from my perspective, it's quite exciting to talk about a comet, which we can all look for and hopefully see. We haven't seen a comet for quite a while, and I thought it would be quite nice to show you where to look for it, and and hopefully you can find it. So let's go on to have a look at what's up in October. As I mentioned, this is the chart now. You see on this chart, this is a chart for October, shown 11 o'clock at night. Spica is long gone, and Libra long gone. So this is what you will see if you look out at 11 o'clock early in the month or 10 o'clock in the middle of the month. Scorpio is disappearing down past the horizon. It's always interesting to see the Lesser Magellanic Cloud and the Large Magellanic, rather, and the small one up to above its right. We've got Canopus in Carina, a bright star. Otherwise, I'm not concentrating on anything else at the moment, just getting your orientation right. So look west for Spica. Well, you won't see Spica at 11 o'clock at night, but you will see it at 6 o'clock down there. Then looking north is what you see. You'll see Saturn is almost overhead. And that's the only planet high up. The other planets are all, some of them can be seen just before sunset and just after sunset and just before sunrise. But I'll deal with that later. But our old favorites are there. Capricornus. Pleiades is coming up in the east. Nice to see our old friend. That's the southern Pleiades. Okay. So then these are the comets. Let me just move this. If you can see in the evening, Mars is about to set. Mercury might see it's very faint. That's in the evening. Saturn overhead. Jupiter is fairly high in the morning. And Venus is starting to rise. Welcome back, Venus. Nice to see you again. We've missed you very much. So nice to have you, Venus. Full moon is the 7th of October. So you don't do any stargazing around about 7. The best time for stargazing is the 21st. Hopefully the moon won't be too bright on the 12th to the 15th, when we can see this comet. My references, as always, very useful. Night Skies of Botswana by Steve O'Meara, our guide to the night sky. But this time, I must admit, with a comment, I used the internet quite a lot. Well, in fact, yeah, because these books wouldn't feature the comet at all. So I did use the internet quite a lot. And that's the end of my song and dance routine. Over to you, Gihan.
Thank you very much, Harold, for all this information that you give us monthly. It is much appreciated. And participants, in about 1 week's time or within the next 1 week, it will be uploaded onto our website, Harold's presentation, and also Achal's presentation would also be available recorded on our website. Thank you very much, Harold. Any questions for Harold?